Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. Obviously, this is a reading for Sagittarius, but also here we have our card tonight, right? Every reading, I pick a card. I don't pick it, I draw it. I draw a card, and it kind of sets the tone of the energy. Now, it doesn't always align with the feeling of the card, but often, yeah, there is. There's a little flavor, a little note of whatever the archetype might be. And so we have the Prince of Swords, okay? This is not my favorite card. Let's just be clear. I think for me it's the color. Now I know it is in relationship to Venus, but the colors, they're not my favorite. They're not my favorite. But then again, 90% of my clothes and my decorating and all that is black. So what are you gonna do? I'm a Virgo. So anyways, this is an energy of brilliance. Not only brilliance, of passion, right? This is where the air and the fire really come together. And there is an energy of motivation, being inspired, having the will to see things through. And so I think of the Prince cards as being not the starting point, obviously, but this is where we really get into that difficult work. Sometimes it's the busy work. Sometimes it's really just like, the stuff that you keep putting off, and okay, now we're here. Now it has to get done. This is that energy you show up for. I think of it as, and this is kind of very specific, but if you've ever had a kid in like football or some kind of sport where they do a lot of training, maybe even you have trained a lot. This is when they have to, do 2-a-days, right? And it's like the middle of the afternoon on an August day, and it's hot, and they're worn out, and they just keep drilling them, right? And then it's all about like the burpees and the, just really breaking out that energy, going. And this is very much how I feel when I see this card. And that's maybe why I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, what's coming? So let's go ahead. I know this is supposed to be a tea leaf reading, but I think the cards really kind of help us set a mind state of like how we're going to go into the reading. So I'm going to, and you might ask, why do we knock? I think it's polite. I don't know. Other practitioners do it. I have never asked why. Honestly, I just kind of adopted it by seeing other people do it. And for me now, it's all about being polite, right? It is a part of the opening ceremony. So let's go ahead. We're going to look in here, and I want to say thank you so much for deciding to click on this reading. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. It's lovely to see you again. And if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'm supposed to say that. The algo likes it. So here we are. Now, let's get started. It looks like we have T-E-X. That's what I'm reading this as. Tex. T-E-X. We also have a 4. Right there, T-E-X. So maybe Texas, I don't know. So if we turn it this way, it kind of looks like it says road, R-O-A-D, road. So maybe you are hitting the road. Do you know somebody in Texas? Are you somebody who goes south for the winter if you live in the United States? Maybe you live near Texas. Maybe you are worried about what's going on in Texas. I don't know. Maybe you're a big fan of comedy and you know that that's kind of the capital of comedy now. I don't know. It's something though. It's something. Although you might know somebody named Tex, right? I can only think of one Tex that I've ever known of. And that's the one from the Manson family. Okay, let's see. So we have a house. And we have somebody arriving there. We have a deer. We have a bird. I'm going to point these out. We have a deer right here. You can see the head, and here's the body, and here's the end of it. We also have, it looks like a bird right here. You can see the wings, and this would be the body and the back tail. Here's another bird up here. Down here, actually, you know what? It doesn't look like a deer. Now I'm looking at it. It looks different, this, like, looking through the viewfinder thing, the way you're going to see it versus how I see it in person. It looks like a squirrel, and it also looks like it has a flower at the end, and it looks like we have a hummingbird eating out of the flower. So all of these symbols, even if we go with the deer and the high-flying raptor bird, or if we go with the hummingbird and the flower and the squirrel, all of these things have to do with sacred substance, not sacred substance, sacred sustenance, right? The thing that feeds us, that feeds our soul. The squirrel is all about busy work, right? Collecting, gathering, storing, putting things away, being mindful of the future. Okay, so working towards an ultimate goal. Now, the hummingbird is multitasking, staying busy. So I assume right now your life is just full. From the time you wake up till the time you go to bed at night, you have so much going on. So much. You know what? My husband and I, shout out to my husband over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. He's amazing. Go check him out. His name is Paul. He's a great tarot reader. If you haven't seen him yet, definitely. He also just got 300K subs. So congratulations, babe. He's doing great. But we always joke. We have like 3 or 4 days within one day. It's just, you know, it's like a marathon, especially if you have kids, you know, there's so much going on constantly, every day. So I feel like you're in that zone where you're busy. The flower, right? And the dew of the flower, I relate this to mana, right? The nectar of the gods. This is that divine knowledge, okay? So I feel like you are the type of person who finds a lot of meaning in doing the things that you do. Now, you might not love doing, you know, the housework or going to the grocery store or, you know, hemming your grandson's pants for confirmation or, you know, whatever. It's a lot of different things going on all the time. And you might not always love everything that's going on, but I think you find and you derive a lot of meaning in the work that you do. I almost feel like you have a very Taoist mindset, right? And I love that part in the Tao Te Ching about, you know, you do the work and then you put it away and you forget about it. You know, what we do, who, you know, our careers, our busy work, our domestic work, our family work, the work we do within our communities. Yes, they're very important, but are they who we are? Do they really equate to any kind of value as far as like it makes us a more valuable person if we work harder or if we do more than the neighbor or the person down the street? No, ultimately it does not. Or at least that's how I feel. I don't think so. But What is valuable is the meaning you derive from your experience. And I feel like you are really tuned in to that fact, that there is not this huge separation where you wake up and you put on your, human suit and you get the house in order, and then you leave and you go out in the world and you start a different life for a few hours, and then, you run your errands and you come home and you start your other life. And, I don't think you are a person like that. You're not compartmentalized. You take who you are and how you feel and how you are existing into each situation. Okay. So I'm looking at this beautiful, this scenario that's happening here, and even with the deer, right? And I feel like this is all interrelated with the sacredness of living, right? And I feel like almost kind of, I said Taoist, but it also reminds me very much of a stoic feeling, right? To let go of the things that do not serve our ultimate purpose, to not be distracted by that which we cannot control. I think you're really good at that, Sagittarius. Every Sagittarius, especially woman that I know, and I know a few very well, very pragmatic, but also so loving and attentive, and such a ability to see all of the details of something. It's like, it almost is like supernatural, it feels like. And so now we go back down to the house over here. And I feel this real sense of your home being like your temple. Okay. Now above the house, we also have this mountain. Do you see it? And we have a person standing above it, and they almost look like a star, right? Like a bright star in the sky. And this really, it leads me to believe, and we have that dolphin right at the base of the mountain. You can see right here, look at the body and the little tail right here. The dolphin is a symbol of psychic ability, strong psychic ability. So I do feel as you really kind of dissolve the borders of your life, right? Where things flow together and you just live as you are, right? You just are who you are day in and day out, hour after hour. And I see you going up that holy mountain. I see you doing that work. I see you reaching one of those most important goals in your life during this next cycle of time. Now, I think that it will be throughout the year of the serpent. We have just come into the year of the wood serpent, or the snake, right? The wood snake. And I feel like, and we have if you could see this like this right here, you can see we have a snail, a slug, a snail. And so it will be slow going at times, right? It will feel like it's not picking up momentum. But once you start to get through these initial phases of this cycle, which we're just right, our toe is barely, planted on the ground. We're not in there yet. We're going though, right? As you get through these initial stages, it will speed up. It will speed up. And that's where that squirrel energy comes in. That's where that hummingbird energy comes in. And I really feel the universe speaking to you. I do feel like there's something to do with fertility coming up here. I don't know that it's you in particular, right? This might be your one of your kids. It might be a family member, somebody, a good friend, or somebody. But I do feel like it's not limited to the feminine fertility. It is also the masculine, right? So we can see it is quite phallic as you turn it over. So we have the reproductive organs, the internal ones here, and for the feminine, and we have more of the masculine on this side, right? The phallic. And so I feel like this is a time of, you know, I don't see necessarily that there will be a child coming, but there's a lot of attention on wanting to begin the process of trying, if that makes sense. So I feel like this is going to be probably a faster process than whoever it is that's trying realizes. I feel like they're going to be blessed on this one. And it will come more quickly than expected. And I sense a lot of happiness around this. You know, sometimes when we talk about these kinds of journeys, or I see them, I don't like to even bring them up because, you know, it can cause a lot of pain. Wanting to have a child and going through that process of trying. And it's not really something that I like to talk about unless there's like 100% confirmation, right? But when I do see it and there's like so much light around it, and it's like I hear laughing and I hear like, you know, happy crying and an excitement, I also see, if you see over here, I see a stork. So for me, it really is this kind of, well, I think things are going to go well. It feels intensely happy. We also have, if you can see, two people, okay, working together to build this heart. Here's one, here's another. And you can see this person over here is holding something up that they're going to continue to build the heart. And so I do feel like there is such a connection, somebody you're very connected with in your life. I feel like for the first time in maybe ever, it's like you fully trust this relationship, this friendship, this union, this, you know, you've decided this is my family. This is somebody that's forever with me. And it feels whole. It feels safe. It maybe is one of the first like really healthy relationships you've had. That's what it feels like, you know, as I'm looking at this. It feels like, okay, at times it almost kind of is worrisome because you're so used to, you know, often people just acting poorly, you know. I feel like I keep hearing this, like there's poor impulse control. You've had people in your life that, you know, they weren't careful with you. They didn't, they may have respected you, but I feel like it's almost kind of like they didn't abide that respect, right? And so I feel that this time is like, it's so foreign that you kind of like feel uncomfortable at times. Like, almost like it's a put on, right? Like, is this real or like, you know, but it's because you haven't had that kind of dynamic, but you're going to learn it, right? And you're going to heal in this relationship, in this friendship, because I think you're starting to see how people can actually treat each other. That it's not just some fairy tale, that people have like decent lives together where they don't call each other names and shout at each other and, you know, that kind of thing. And so I feel like this is a beautiful, beautiful work in progress. And it is. I feel like this is something that you're continuing to work on, both within the friendship, relationship, but also within self. Because oftentimes, you know, we might end up in a great relationship, or we meet somebody that, you know, really is such a good friend, but it's not always at the right time. Like sometimes we're just, I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm just ragged and mean and feral, just like a dang old possum, you know, that you ran up on. He's behind the trash cans or whatever, and you scared it, and the poor thing turns and, you know, hisses at you, and its hair's all messy and gross, and you're like, gosh dang, what happened to you? You know? Sometimes that's me, and I can say in my dating life, which is very brief, to be honest, but yeah, sometimes I was that feral possum, and I was not ready to be, I wasn't ready for the, what did they used to call it, like the debutante season or whatever. I was not ready for that. But then other times, yeah, we are. We're aligned perfectly and, you know, open and ready to receive that kind of connection and to allow somebody to know us and to really put your effort into knowing somebody else, right? And so I do feel, yeah, like this is it. This is like, and again, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but this is like your person, okay? This is a lifelong companion, okay? So that's a beautiful thing to have in your life. Now, yes, it says Y-E-S, yes. And then we have the number 21. And then we have a sheep who is eating. And we have a little bird, little message. And I'm under the impression that the universe is reminding you to make sure that you are eating well, whatever that looks like for you. Not skipping meals, you know, or just eating like, you know, a piece of candy for lunch or whatever. Listen, and I'm going to mom you up. No, I'm not. I'm not. I am the last person that should give anybody any kind of wisdom about eating. But, you know, it's all different for each of us. Like, what's good for you might not be good for me and vice versa, right? And so I think the big thing, though, is just not letting yourself get run down, okay? So I know things are changing, things are busy, your mind is in a million places, and sometimes, you know, that those like real baseline things, we don't always think about them that much. I can tell you there's a lot of days where it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon and here I've already cooked 2 meals, but I haven't eaten anything all day. And I think, oh, you know, I'm starting to feel a little bit wobbly here. What's going on, right? And, you know, it just happens. I don't know what else to say about it. It's like an unintentional intermittent fasting, you know, because I don't eat after like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So, yeah, that gets to be a long day, right? And it's on accident. But, you know, you do that day in and day out. And, you know, you spent the whole week where you've had these huge periods of time where you're not getting the nutrition that you need. And, you know, we get run down. We get grouchy, you know, and it's not just blood sugars. It's all of it. It's the whole dang old deal, right? So just making sure that you are getting what you need, you know, and that's that. Also resting. Oh, that's the other part. The sheep, right? So that's obviously, we know the connection of sheep and sleep. But making sure you're resting and you're getting those meals, those snacks, those little snackies that you need. So, just some taking care of self stuff, right? Thank you, universe, for reminding us. And also mind your business. No. All right, Sagittarius, we're going to do 3 lucky numbers. 3 lucky numbers. Number 86. Number 86. Number 98. 98. 86, 98, and 54. 54. Now we'll do the self-care affirmation cards. I'm going to flip and stop right where it feels the rightest, the most rightest. And it says cloud of release. I release my stress and worry. Like a cloud, it floats away, and all that's left is stillness. In that stillness, I am held by a loving God. I am held by a loving God. All right. Well, Sagittarius, I love you. I thank you for spending this time with me. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, I'm just going to say again, I love you. Take care of yourself, please. What else? I don't know. That's it. Not much going on. I started to watch Nosferatu. It's finally like on the, you can watch it at home version or whatever. So I started that last night. Pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know. I think that's it. It's Monday. I'm recording this on a Monday, so my brain is just trying to catch up with the bazillion things, right? So anyways, Sagittarius, I love you. We'll talk very soon. Good night. Good night. Good night.